The ecology of my neighborhood, Soy Sawadee in Sukhumvit 31. By definition of the Carey Institute for Ecosystem Studies, ecology can be defined in three main aspects. Firstly, the distribution and abundance of organism in a space. This patch analysis was done by extracting a satellite image of a 1 kilometer square grid around Soy Sawadee to study the nature of the area. The main division in this analysis is buildings, vegetation, and infrastructure. Over 68% is made up of a mixture of residential and commercial buildings, thus resulting in a high rate of human activity. There's quite a high percentage of trees at 11.7% scattered across the area. They indicate the distribution of detached housing since the trees are planted in gardens, as well as along the roads for walkability. High-rise condominiums and office buildings are mostly congregated in a linear manner along the larger Asok Montri Road. They cast extensive shadows onto nearby buildings, providing shade but also influencing their microclimate. The footprint of the buildings are much smaller than the shadows they cast. Asphalt indicates roads and parking in the area. Grass fields are found in the boundary of large-scale school and university. Thus, they are managed by humans rather than overgrown in nature. Soy Sawadee lies on the north of Sukhumvit Road. It's a substreet that can be accessed from three main roads, Sukhumvit, Asok Montri or Sukhumvit 21, and Phechbury Road. It also connects to multiple Sukhumvit soys, 23, 31, 39, 49, all the way to Thong Lo and 51. The connectivity that these soils provide reflect the nature of distributaries in rivers that played a significant role in the development of Bangkok's boat culture in the past, full of activity and potential. Zooming into Soy Sawadee, there's a mixture of building types: townhouses, detached housings, high-rise condominium buildings, construction site, and a school. The different kinds of boundaries from these buildings influence different types of activities to occur. I further studied the activities along the streets from an observational walk, which can be outlined into four major hotspots. First, street food vendor carts in front of a school. The school is a major and only source of customers that these carts rely on. Second, food vendors with a motorcycle taxi station on the opposite side of the two-lane road. Since the left-hand side of the road are full of detached housings, they have closed-off tall wall along the stretch of the street, perfect for vendors. Meanwhile, the other side are commercial townhouses which needs shopfront area yet benefits from the motorcycle taxi. Third, a construction site for a high-rise condominium, which creates a large flux of workers in and out of certain hours. Lastly, a PET bottle collection process which occurs once in a few months. This brings us to the next aspect of ecology, the interactions between organisms and elements of the soil. Even though each hotspot has its own distinctive actions, they are more or less dependent on each other and other elements of the soil. The two shed diagrams show the correlation between the hotspots, one in the aspect of energy flow and the other in a spatial proximity aspect. For example, the food vendors attract a lot of customers from multiple sources in the area: the school staff, the townhouse residents, construction workers. However, the construction workers commute with their own bicycles, so they are unrelated to the community in this sense. Therefore, I wanted to focus on one hotspot to study the last aspect of ecology, the transformation and flux of energy, matter, and information. At this cross-section of the street, the food vendors and the motorcycle taxi have a mutualistic relationship. They are codependent organisms that rely on and benefit from one another. I further studied their relationship, movements, and transformation in daily routines in the form of cinematography. There are two street food stalls and one drink stall with some seating areas on one side, connected with multiple umbrellas. They have an interconnected relationship with the motorcycle taxi riders on the opposite side. Some of them help the food stall set up at 4 a.m. in trade with providing them lunch. Anjong makes som tam or papaya salad. Everything is done on the spot so you can adjust the taste to your liking. On the opposite side, the motorcycle taxi station uses the same green umbrella. The water tank behind them also gets refilled by the food stalls. Later in the afternoon, around 2 p.m., when there are no more customers, the stalls will start to pack up. Everything gets put away through the gate to the house behind the fence. The bikers help Anjong pack up her stall by providing labor to carry the containers and station away. In the evening when the vendors are gone, the motorcycle taxis still operate individually, although at a much less active rate. By filming various spots at different times, I was able to generate a 4-dimensional model which portrays a shift in both spatial and temporal changes. Images are oriented based on their relative location and scale, where images with a shift in time of day are placed stacking in front of another, like strolling frozen in time, but in the meantime skipping forward through time as well. Gliding in time also allows intimate observation and habitual movements in people's diurnal routine. Their postures, the characteristics or accent in their movements. The actions generate a transformation and flux of energy on a daily scale. The shifts in this elevation show changes that happen within a 24-hour time frame and repeats, creating a pattern or a cycle in the flow. Busy stalls, packing up, empty streets. The pattern, however, is different even with organisms that closely relate and connect. The diagram shows the transformation of vendor and motorcycle on a time axis, with various inputs and interaction at different times. In the center of the diagrams are sources of energy and matter from within the area that feeds into either operation. There may also be external sources of matter such as delivery bikes that come from elsewhere. Some of the vendor owners themselves as well, at the end of the day, have to commute out of the area to go home. Thus, showing Soisawadi as an ecosystem that has its own interconnected relationship, it contributes to the phenomenon of Bangkok Sois, an interstitial space where life happens in between.